Test, 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 test. Testing. Are we live? Oh shit, we are live. I'm starting this like 20 minutes early. So if you're early, just skip ahead 20 minutes. If you're watching this in the future, just skip ahead for now. I just wanna, it's been a while since I've streamed on YouTube, so I just want to make sure everything's fine and make some announcements and just get cozy here. So yeah, we'll begin in 20 minutes. So yeah, you're early. Let's put this here. What's up? What's up, guys? Watching from Amsterdam. I love Amsterdam. I was just there. I was just there. So pretty. Welcome, guys. Thanks for tuning in. The early birds here. The real gangsters. We're gonna do a little quick forecast. Good vibes from Brazil. Hey, nice. What's up, Dennis? Of course I'm gonna go over NQ. We're gonna go over everything on this list, my friend. Every time. Imagine doing a forecast. And imagine someone does a forecast and doesn't look at the NASDAQ. Like, what are you doing? What are we doing? Let me know if the audio is solid, if I'm not like clipping or like. Let me know if that's good. Just want to make sure everything's solid. Again, that's why we're starting 20 minutes early. But let's see. Let me know, guys, how the audio is. I'm gonna make a little post on Instagram and right here. But yes, miss guys. Twin, what's good, Twin? My guy. Bro, I'm gonna be in Florida for the next month. I fly out. Oh, you fly out tomorrow? Hell yeah. Fuck yeah, bro. Yeah, you're far as fuck, bro. Like even going up to Orlando is like that's a fat drive for me. And I just came back from Orlando in a long ass road trip. I literally drove from Miami to Alabama like a couple weeks ago. That's a nightmare, bro. And literally I went and came back in like 2 days. I hate driving. But yeah, bro, that's solid. That's sick. All right, let me post this shit on G. Your indicators are goated. Fuck yeah, mate. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Yeah, literally, bro. Logan knows he's a Florida boy. It's like it takes 8 hours just to get to another state, and especially like going from Miami, like the butthole, all the way down here, just to get out of Florida. It's so bad, and it's like not the most interesting drive either. Truthfully. But we're back. I don't know. When was the last time we did a forecast here? It's been like, what, a month? No, it's probably been more than a month. Like a couple months. We've been busy, man. We've been getting active. We've been getting active out in real life. Been getting real active. Live. All right, I'm making my Instagram post here. Live forecast right now. Appreciate y'all tuning in though. Again, you guys are early, so if you feel free to like do whatever, we will begin in like 20 minutes. I might play a little guitar while we went. Did you go to Egypt? I have not been to Egypt. I'd love to go. I would love to go. That's next on my list. That in India. And Japan. And South Korea. There's a lot. There's a lot on that list. Actually, let me just put it that way. There's a lot on the list. All right. Live forecast on YouTube now. All right. Where's the link for this? It's almost sleeping time in Kenya, but can't sleep. Chase the bag, bro. Hell yeah, man. Respect for staying up. Well, you might fall asleep by the time we begin. All right, link. There we go. Yeah, Japan that's like the top. That's peak right there. That's like where I want to go most. That's definitely, I agree with that. I can agree with that. We missed your forecast, man. Yeah, appreciate that. Appreciate that. We're back. We're gonna be back with it. We just been out and about. How are you today? I'm doing excellent. I hope you all had a great weekend. Bro's been teaching camels about Fair Valley gaps. Oh hell yeah! Told them all about it. All right, I posted that up. Looking solid here. How'd y'all do last week? Would you ever do like vlogs, tour vlogs? I did. I went to Amsterdam and Morocco mainly is where I did it. And I vlogged Morocco. But like there was really like I was pretty bad about it. Like there was no cohesion to the vlogs. It was like a bunch of random moments. So it's hard to like it's a learning curve, I think. My goal was to vlog it and like maybe release something, but it didn't come out very good. Like there's no cohesion, right? There's no like story or you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's something I guess I'm working on. The storytelling aspect of that. But yeah, I definitely want to. Like I bought a new camera and I tried and shit, but yeah, I don't think I'm gonna release that footage. Maybe the next one. I learned a lot. Vlogging shit ain't as easy as I thought, man. It is not as easy as I thought. But I'd love to. And that initially, like before I started like the trading path, like I wanted to be like a travel influencer, like a travel YouTuber and like go and stuff like that. You know the type of channels that are out there that do that, just vlog like crazy places that they go to. But I'm talking about like going to the crazy places, like spending a day in Iran, or like I'm saying, like going to some crazy countries and filming stuff that most people don't really see. But yeah. Oh, because I watched the shorts when you were in Morocco and they seemed cool. Appreciate that. Yeah, Morocco's badass. Amazing thing you do. You're my guy. First time watching your forecast. Welcome, Vasim. Welcome to the party. Man, last week I got cooked. My psychology's bad right now. I can't lie. Yeah, no, last week was a toughie. I don't blame you. But this is a new week. Especially Friday. I think that was Friday where it was Friday. Surprise. Trump surprise. In fact, that's actually something I wanted to talk about today with some news that we got from Trump himself that might impact the open here. I'll show you guys that shortly. A purchaser indicator, elevate me. Elevate me. I'm not sure what that means, but my guy, I hope you like it. Did you get in? There's been a bug with WAP lately, honestly. There's been a little bug that is like preventing people from getting access. And Nils has been busy lately, so he hasn't been able to get to that. But when he's back, he will get you all sorted. He will get y'all sorted. That would be so different to do because I feel like all traders, flashy cars, penthouse, but the travel vlog, yeah, for real, dude, for real. And that's what I'm passionate about more so. Like I don't really care about that lifestyle, that flashy stuff, and flexing. I like experiences more than material stuff like that. That's why I got into trading so I can travel. That was like the main thing. Like my biggest thing I find like most fun, like I guess interesting, and that brings me the most joy is like just traveling, you know? That's always a great time. Experiencing new things, cultures, places, sights, and smells and food, especially food. All right. Well, we have like 10 minutes. Was it not seen in the spot 15-minute the drop? Yeah. Let's see if we can like put the guitar on here while we wait. We'll be. Let me alert the Discord first that we're on 10 minutes. Can you use the same strategies on SPY? Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. Where is the macOS screen? Okay. I wonder if this is gonna work like this. 1 second. Uh-oh. Dude, I forgot to put like my lo-fi on. Interesting. Testing, testing, testing. All right. Let me know if y'all could hear this right here, nice and crispy. Before we begin. Can y'all hear that? All right. I'll play a little song. It's a hard one. Before we begin, it's not perfect, but I'm glad it's crispy. Okay, sweet. Hope this works. We'll do our best here. Let's see. I think y'all should be able to see the. No. Should be able to see the camera right here. How we doing? There we go. First time I use this camera. There we go. Wait, let's make that little thing a little cleaner. Oh, there goes the camera. I knew that would happen. A little concert before the... How do we get like a getting? There we go. All right, fuck it. All right, there we go. Ew. That's the hard part. We got 3 minutes. Don't worry, guys. We'll begin in 3 minutes. Just having a little fun here. We'll get into the live stream. Into the draw liquidity for some swings. I fucked it up. I fucked it up. It's 4:40. It's time. That wasn't bad. That wasn't the worst take. Bye-bye, camera. All right, let's begin. As promised here. Let's go back to the proper mic that we had. All right, sweet. Back to business here, guys. It is time. It is time. Okay. Welcome back to another live stream here. Let's pull up first things first, the economic news calendar. So let's pull that up. That is the first thing we want to be looking at every single time we do one of these. Let's pull that up here. All right, there it is. And where the hell is my lo-fi for the background? Can't do this without the lo-fi. That's not the lo-fi. Well. Testing. Well, that's interesting. Let me know if that's okay. Let me know if that's okay with the lo-fi. I think that's fine. Looks like it's fine on my end. All right, let's begin. You don't have to see me. We just pulled up the camera for the guitar. Oh, that's the wrong screen. There we go. All right. I think we're good now, right? We are not good. All right. Great. This is the one. All right. Okay, guys. Now we're ready. All right. Think everything is solid here. All right. So first things first. Economic news calendar. I don't know if you saw my post already, but it's a bit of an interesting one where we only have Powell speaking as the only guaranteed US dollar news. Besides that, we have PPI, which is tentative here, and then we have GBP news at 2 in the morning right here. So a bit of an interesting one, but that's fine. I still think it could be a really nice week. Remember, if you are focusing on indices, you have that guaranteed volatility driver at 9:30 a.m. every day. So I will be waiting for that every single day this week since we don't have any 8:30 a.m. news. I will be shifting my kill zone, from the standard 8:30 a.m. to 12 to now 9:30, waiting for that news to be injected. Typically, what we see on 9:30 is some sort of manipulation into a higher time frame point of interest or some session liquidity, Asia highs, Asia lows, to then reverse and move higher towards the drawn liquidity. So that's what I like to observe 9:30 for manipulation. That's the key thing we like to look for there. In terms of Forex, though, yeah, it's looking quite dry for Forex. This is the only GBP news here, and then yeah, the dollar news is also quite dry. So I'll be really just focusing on indices and gold also. Gold is a big watch this week. Gold looks really nice, and we will go over that. All right. That being said, this is that, right? So on Monday we have a bank holiday, so I will not be trading tomorrow. It is a bank holiday. Typically, what you see on bank holidays is way lower volatility, not even worth looking at or touching, not even worth trading. Put my laptop on do not disturb right there. One moment. We will do BTC. We will look at Bitcoin for sure. So yeah, Monday's a bank holiday. You guys should know by now how I feel about bank holidays. I don't trade them. So yeah, Tuesday we have Powell speaking at 12:20. So that's after, that's during the lunch session anyway. So it's not really something I'm worried about being involved in. I'm going to look to, make my trades in the morning in the AM session and be done by then. So I'm not really worried about that. Wednesday, again, newsless day, wait for 9:30. Thursday, bunch of tentative stuff, meaning it likely won't happen due to the government shutdown is my viewpoint on that. So again, waiting for 9:30. Same thing for Friday, wait for 9:30. The good thing is this week, the very good thing is that we don't have to worry about any sort of big three news event and the day before big three news event. So this makes pretty much every day besides Monday interesting and not worrisome for I have to wait for the big three news event now to pass and then I can trade. And then the day before, I have to worry about it being a lower probability consolidation day as it awaits the big three news event the following day, etc., etc. So this is actually a week I look forward to. There's not much to really worry about except Trump. Surprise news from Trump. That's pretty much the only thing that you'd have to be cautious about. Speaking about Trump, I wanted to share with you guys some news that happened right here. I'm just going to grab the first one I see right here. Some news that happened that might impact the open and might actually just catapult us higher. All right, Trump. Don't worry about China. It will all be fine. Highly respected President Xi just had a bad moment. He doesn't want depression for his country, and neither do I. The USA wants to help China, not hurt it. President DJT. So that's interesting. I mean, that's fucking bullish, but if I had a stance on that, that'd be quite bullish to me. So I will be observing the open. Do we get a very, like this fella said here, V-shaped reversal coming right up and mega gap? Who knows? We'll see when the market's open. But this is pretty big news right here. It's positive, at least, compared to what we saw on Friday. This is quite positive. So we'll see how that impacts the market. That is quite interesting. So that is important to know. Trump tweets are, at this point, we're gonna have to include them as part of our economic calendar outlook in the beginning of these streams. We're gonna have to check, did Trump tweet anything over the weekend? and literally just make that a red folder news. We can make that a freaking pink folder news. That's like next level volatility right there. Call that pink folder news. I don't know. Anyways, that's that. Moving along here. First thing we want to be looking at every time we do a forecast for the week that is ahead is the dollar, which is why it's the first thing you see right here on my forecast list, the dollar, right? That's the world reserve currency, which is why we have to look at the dollar first thing before anything. Because if we can get a clear idea on what dollar is doing, we can get a clear idea as to what all these majors right here might want to do, right? Because these majors are directly tied to the dollar. So we can get a bias on dollar, we'll have a very clear bias on 7 assets by just looking at dollar. All right, so very important. We always look at this first thing. Now, always we want to be starting from the top down. So let me just remove everything. I'm saying. Let's start from scratch. From the top down. All right, starting on the monthly, looking for bias using a few concepts, right? Order flow and candlestick logic. And that makes finding a bias quite simple. Right, so we have been in bearish order flow over here on the monthly, evidently seen by the order flow indicator right here. Okay, cool. What does that mean for us? Well, not really anything right now, right? Because now we're down here. And what we can use to determine a bias where we are at right now is candlestick logic, okay? Because based on candlestick logic, what's happening right here on a monthly basis is that we are sweeping this monthly swing low. This is a discount array. A monthly swing low is a discount array. It's a support level. And if we're sweeping that and respecting a discount array, well, remember what price always does. It's always moving from a discount to premium array. Always operating in between those two PD arrays, from discount to premium, from premium to discount. Always going from one to the other. So if we are respecting a discount array, where will price seek? Towards a premium array. So where are our premium arrays? Above us after sweeping this. We have this monthly swing high. That's a premium array we can potentially draw towards to. And then over here, we'd have this monthly fair value gap that we can also draw towards to as well. So on this monthly basis, I have a soft bias right here for this monthly candle to want to expand higher towards this level. That would be my bias for the month of October. And you see how candlestick logic really simplifies a lot, because by just using that, and by just literally figuring out where this next monthly candle will go, we can have a bias for like an entire month, which is bullish for me. I want to see this next monthly candle expand higher, because what do we expect after we see a respect candle in the market? After we see a candle respect a discount array, we expect the following candle to continue expanding higher. So if we have a bullish rejection right here, we want to see that second candle continue expanding higher. That's how you can predict the direction of candles. And I did go over this in the candlestick logic video in more detail. So if you want a refresher or to understand exactly what that looks like, go watch that video. But that's the monthly. We have that idea, but we still need more details, right? So this is where we go down in time frames, right? We need to see, all right, well, if we're going higher, where can we potentially go higher from? And what resistance areas might be in the way that's preventing us from moving higher here. So let's go to the weekly. Let's see what the weekly is telling us right here. Currently sweeping this, again, that monthly swing low. Weekly targets, again, that swing high, and we would also have at this level right here, which we just took. But let's see what the daily's doing. Again, we need more information because, as I forgot to mention this, because on the weekly, we don't really have any sort of like order flow to work with or fair value gaps to really work with. So if we're going to continue pushing higher, well, we need a little more details than just this, right? We don't really have much to work with right there. So that's why we're going down the time frame again into the daily, just to get a little more clarity. And here on the daily, we see a daily fair value gap right here. Daily fair value gap right here. Now, what is interesting, or what's something about this fair value gap and the way it's retracing into, is that's a very strong retracement right here. This is very aggressive, and just based on this candle, I can more than likely guarantee that we're going to see some sort of 4-hour bearish fair value gap right here, just because of how strong of a retracement that is. Now, what did we go over in the last video, which is the trapped order flow video? There's that 4 hour fair value gap right here. Again, you could have literally seen that. And this is the beauty of candlestick logic. You could have literally seen that by just looking at the daily, understanding that that's a big expansion candle lower, meaning on a lower time frame, that's likely just bearish order flow, right? So that's how we can understand that, but without even diving into the lower time frames here. But then the lower time frame confirms this, and we do see a 4 hour bearish fair value gap right here. So that is an area of resistance right here. It's going to pose some issues if we do decide to go higher off that daily fair value gap. So in here is where you would encounter trapped order flow. This is where price becomes trapped. We have both a reason to push higher and a reason to push lower and a reason to push higher. So you have to be a bit more cautious here. You have to be a bit more careful here as to what you will do, right? Price comes into this daily. If I am to look for these highs, I would want to remove this area of resistance. So by either disrespecting it or just running the rejection high that we see in there. That is what I would look for. Some people might call it inversing it. Same logic, but we just want to disrespect it. Okay. So that is what I'm looking for here. If we do still want to continue higher, the only thing that's really preventing us from doing so is that 4 hour. After that's like clear skies, right? This is that low resistance liquidity run conditions right here. So if we do that, that is what I'm looking for. Now, if we don't do that, we go to the daily. If we decide to respect that 4 hour and move lower, that would not be the most ideal scenario, because what we also have right here is this this daily fair value area. Right here, let me actually mark that up with a line right there. Right, this is that daily area fair value. Let me just mark it out for you. Meaning, even if we do disrespect this daily, when we still come into this area fair value, this is still a level that we can continue pushing higher from. So again, I would want to see these 4 hour fair value gaps get disrespected, and then again, I can start looking for higher prices right here. So there's a bit of waiting to be done on the dollar. Okay? It's a bit of waiting to be done on the dollar. Now, in the scenario where we disrespect this area fair value and we start running these lows right here, we create these rejection lows and we start running them. Well, now what's happening? Remember, the market only does two things: seek liquidity or offer fair value. See, I didn't want it to be in caps, but whatever. These are the two things the market does: seek liquidity and offer fair value. So if we fail to offer fair value at this area of fair value, and what that would look like is we are disrespecting it. We are not displacing higher. We are running the lows, the rejection lows that get created right there, and displacing lower through that, closing below these daily fair value gaps, closing inside of this area fair value, disrespecting it. Essentially, we're failing to offer fair value. That means we're likely going to seek opposing liquidity. Over here, my bad. This was the area fair value. At this low right here, this would be my drawn liquidity. We have this little fair value gap right here, but that's a fair value gap I don't expect to work because it is deep inside of an area fair value. It may present a little like a speed bump. You can call that like a speed bump. Maybe give a little consolidation, create a fair value gap on the downside to retrace into, ultimately continue pushing lower. Wouldn't be something I expect a full-on shabam like that. More so a speed bump towards this final destination right there. That's the bearish case. The bearish case for dollar, and where I would start shifting my bias short, is if we start to basically disrespect this area fair value right here. As for the longs, again, either we start pushing higher off this daily fair value gap that we saw right there, and we disrespect this 4 hour, and then we have clear skies right here, or we do that off the fair value area, and again, we wait for the same thing, disrespect the 4 hour fair value gap, and then we can start looking higher right there. That's the idea. That is the idea right there. So that's a dollar. Let's actually look at euro and majors and that good stuff over here. So euro is the same exact thing. It's just an inverse of what dollar is doing, right? So same exact idea stands pretty much. Again, sweeping this monthly premium array, likely seeking a discount array right here. Monthly fair value gaps below as well. Could be a potential draw. Again, we wouldn't be bearish, so we'd have to, once we take that swing low, we would have to see, are we, again, respecting this monthly swing low? Because overall, we've been bullish. And what do we know about bullish price action? Well, in bullish price action, whenever we go below swing lows, they're more likely going to be just stop hunts to continue pushing higher. So we'd have to wait and see, do we respect this to go higher, or do we just start disrespecting it to go lower? And then target that, right? This is another waiting area we would have to see. Again, not much to see on the weekly right here. On the daily, we don't have daily fair value gaps really working right here. But the dollar does want to continue pushing higher. This should continue pushing lower. So we could pretty much just view the same thing we saw on dollar. Remember that opposing 4-hour fair value gap that we saw? If we disrespect that on dollar, we were going to disrespect that on euro, and then we can just look for shorts right here in this low resistance area. Same exact thing. Literally, it's the same analysis, just flip it. Same thing for GU over here. I think euro is a bit weaker. And you can visually see that. You're like, I don't know if you're thinking like, well, how can you tell it's weaker? Well, you can visually see that with the amount of displacement we saw, for example, below that relative low right there. Do you see that low, that relative low? Do you see how much more displacement we saw through that? Compared to GU, which we're literally like trading back above it, whereas EU is still below it. Still below this area of fair value right here. So yeah, just the displacement below certain levels. You can use an eye test pretty much. That's a very easy way to determine relative strength. Just that eye test by the displacement of the candles. It's not too difficult there. So if dollar does push higher, remember euro and GU and AU and NZD, they move inverse of what dollar does, because USD is a quote currency right here. Whereas the USDs and the base currencies, which is the first listed asset in a Forex pair, those move in line with dollar, in case you didn't know. Little Forex 101 there as well. So that's that. I would look at euro for shorts, and I would focus on that if dollar moves higher. GU, it's a bit stronger, so you don't want to be shorting the stronger asset, right? That's the logic behind that. AUD, okay, so AUD USD is way weaker than euro. So if dollar moves higher, I would want to be focusing on AUD USD over the euro anyways. Again, always looking for the most relatively weak in correlation with the bias on dollar. So bullish bias on dollar, we're looking for the weakest asset of the XXX USD majors, which at this current moment is AUD USD with beautiful expansion lower right here. Clear draws on liquidity below. Again, it's the same exact analysis we did on the monthly right here, respecting a monthly premium array, likely going to seek a discount array right here at the swing low. So this is just an easy way to find bias, and this could literally be your context area from this swing high to this swing low. Just using candlestick logic, you create a context area boundary for price to operate within right here from this premium array to this discount array. I think that's very clean right there. All right, if we're going lower, where can we go lower from? We don't have a daily for value gap just yet. We'd have to look at 4-hour for value gaps to potentially already want to push lower right there. That would be an area of interest with this area of fair value right there. Overlapping level, overlapping low. That's not too bad, mate. Dare I say NU is weaker here, actually. NU having monthly flip context. Monthly flip context right here. Failing to offer fair value, likely going to flip and now seek liquidity. It's monthly flip context, because we are disrespecting that monthly fair value gap right here. And I remember NU had a gorgeous swing summit model over here last week off of this weekly. I believe it was, yeah, I believe it was this. Beautiful closure below this swing low right here. That's great. I'll show you guys the swing that was on NU right here. All right, so off of that weekly for value gap, the swing was right here. This 4-hour weekly. It's a 4-hour, and that's also a CASD right there. You have your unicorn right there as well. Just beautiful, beautiful entry right there. That would have been nice and tasty. Just a great example right there. As to what can happen next, let's take a look at the daily chart right here. Whoops, I deleted everything, my bad. Where can people potentially continue moving lower from? We want to establish some closer. This one's really far, so let's see if we can find some closer discount arrays to target. We just came into this unmitigated FEG. This is an extremely small one, but you can still consider that unmitigated. And I'm marking these out in case you're wondering, why are you marking that fair value gap all the way back there? It's because those unmitigated fair value gaps on the opposing side of your curve serve as good targets. Remember, those are speed bumps. Those are areas where we may see some form of consolidation or a little retracement, you know, before ultimately continuing pushing lower. But it's not an area that I'm like, okay, we can completely rocket off higher here. But they're good areas to consider taking profits at, right? Because you might slow down right there and again see some sort of retracement to ultimately continue pushing lower. So that's the idea. That's the idea. Non-ZD does look quite bearish. These daily closes are really nice. You know, previous day's lows, also an immediate draw right there. Gapping up right here at the moment. But I would want to see us move lower off of this. If not, we maybe sweep this high and then move lower off of that. But we'll see. Also, we have to wait for dollar, right? We don't just want to trade NU when dollar's not ready yet. Also, important to understand. Now, UCAD, if dollar wants to be bullish, we want to be looking at the strongest asset right here. Which I'm not really a fan of, as we're all coming into monthly fair value gaps on UJ here, on... We're not on USD CHF. I don't fucking... you guys know how I feel about francs. The francs. The Swiss francs. Not Franks as in the humans named Frank, but y'all know what I mean. All right, so we're coming into this monthly fair value gap. We have been quite bullish right here. We do have this weekly fair value gap down below. Okay, cool. But what's happening on a daily? We have a daily fair value gap right here. All right. Our dollar does push higher. This should still continue pushing higher. So do we have any sort of potential targets inside that monthly fair value gap? I don't know. I don't really like this because we are coming into this big monthly fair value gap. So it's like I'd rather look at dollar and these ideas right here, which were way more clearer in terms of like their bias. And USD CHF, again, this is the type of retracement into a daily fair value gap that is disgusting. So strong. There's likely going to be 4-hour fair value gaps in that leg right here. Super aggressive retracement. It's not very nice, right? So you want to be waiting. Again, this is trapped order flow. This is literally examples of what we went on in that video. Which is why when you have those aggressive retracements, we typically create these 4-hour fair value gaps coming into our dailies, and that's what creates these consolidations, right? That's why we don't like aggressive retracements, because that's a lot of bearish intention entering the market, and now we're not as clearly one-sided as we should be, as we were. This is a big retracement to expect a big V move right back up. It's not very sensible. Think about how many times you've seen price come into a daily fair value gap and then do something like this. Does that look familiar to you? Not to me, personally. I don't know about you. But that is that. That is a really gross retracement. And this is the type of stuff. All right, this is actually a beautiful lesson right here. These are the type of retracements, the type of, you know, the type of retracements into a fair value gap where you don't want to be taking the first 1 hour impulse shift that you get out of here. Which is, I feel like, a big mistake a lot of people make when they're trading Summit or trading the swing model. They will take the alignments, you know, at face value and throw all logic and critical thinking out of the window, literally. And just take like the first 1 hour for value gap right here and be like, all right, we're ready to rumble here, looking good. And then fail to realize, well, brother, we have a 4 hour for value gap we're coming into right here. Are you sure about that? I'm not sure about that. They might take something like this, and what ends up happening is we do something like this, and then maybe sweep sell side one more time, and then we move higher. You know what I'm saying? So stuff like that, easily avoidable losses, right? That's exactly what we went over in the last video, the trapped order flow video. Again, if you haven't seen that, I highly recommend it because you can avoid so many piss poor losses that might frustrate you. So many dumb losses by just understanding the logic of trapped order flow and removing that area that can potentially send us lower first. Again, those are the type of for value gaps where you demand more confirmation, which is why what that means, just demanding more confirmation means, let me demand more confirmation that we don't want to move lower off of this 4 hour for value gap right here and not take the first 1 hour entry off of the daily, right? Wait for maybe a 4 hour order flow shift. Now we're talking, now we're interesting, you know, or disrespect that. Shit like that, mate. Simple as that, mate. Don't take the first one because of FOMO. Right. You got to think critically, right? It's not as simple. It's not as simple as just IRO to ERO and take the time frame aligned entry function. That's very basic face value stuff. Like, that is not how it works. And I know some people think it is, because I used to think it was like that. Seriously, like, that was me. I was like, all right, IRO to ERO, 1 hour out. This is it. It's as simple as that. Trading is that easy. No, at face value, it's that easy, but it takes some more critical thinking. The nuances and all the setups and the retracements and the candles, and there's things that go into it to find the high probability setups. It's not as simple as daily to 1 hour. If it was that simple, everybody and their mother would be trading and making mucho dinero. That's not the case. Go, oh, fuck you. Fuck CL. Wait, what are we, where's the... This is my worst chart of the decade. Award for worst chart of the decade goes for crude oil right here. Dare I even analyze this? I don't want to. So I won't. Moving along. Moving along. Gold is the winner of this decade's best chart. I will give that to gold. We are absolutely beautiful all-time highs. Weekly, just literally ripping it all the okay. It gets interesting right here in the daily. All right, let's just get to the good stuff. It gets interesting right here at the daily. Let's delete all this 8 drawings that we have. And this is very simple, right? I mean, does it get much better than that? Does it get much better than that? Daily IRO to ERO. Beautiful. Now, wait. Don't get ahead of yourselves, guys. Let's look at the 4 hour. Okay, there we go. We're getting nicely disrespect out of this 4 hour. We've got a nice candle closure above it. Already showing that we are wanting to displace higher, running these rejection highs. Closing inside of this area fair value. I like gold. See, now we've removed that resistance area right here off of this daily. And do you see the troubles we had? Look at this. This is a great example. Do you see the troubles we had after we came into this daily? All the troubles right here we saw at that 4 hour for value gap. All the consolidation that we saw right here. If you would have taken something like this, well, you would have been stopped out. You took the daily to 1 hour impulse shift, but you didn't notice that we were coming into an opposing 4 hour Fair Value gap and we're trapped. So you took a loss right there. Or you took this one right here. I mean, the chain, you took the chain, but we're still coming into that 4 hour Fair Value gap for the first time. And what happened? Uh-oh. You took another loss. So right there, 2 losses. 2 very avoidable losses on gold. It's not as simple as daily into 1 hour impulse shift or even the chain. If we're coming into this 4 hour value gap for the first time, right? You're literally longing into resistance. Like, why? It's simple. It's very simple to avoid some dumb losses like that. Okay. So gold is on my watch for this week for longs. I am liking this towards these highs, right? It's pretty much what I'm gonna have to just wait for is, do we get new 1 hour for value gaps, new 4 hour for value gaps, or even 15-minute for value gaps? I would just like to see us, whoops, displace above these highs right here would be nice. Something like that. And this area right here is sexy for higher prices. It's tasty, very tasty right here. There's nothing stopping us. But this is all this chop. Why are we chopping here, you might ask? Why are we so disgustingly delivering right here? This is what trapped order flow looks like. That 4 hour for value gap right there that we saw. All right. So gold, why is it yellow? Green, mate. All right, silver. I mean, I'm not really interested in silver based on how good gold looks. So it's like silver's low-key just moving sideways right here. Whereas gold had this beautiful daily IRO to ERO. Oh, I mean, we missed this too. Look, we have SMT on that rejection low right there. On that previous day's low. So that, what the f is that? The Fibonacci, the dreaded Fibonacci. Look at that. That looks good. We have SMT right here too. So that's the cherry on top, right? The way I view SMT is, it's a nice cherry on top. It's some nice sprinkles on your ice cream, some nice gummy bears. It just makes the setup a lot sweeter and tastier, if you know what I mean. So that's great. Love to see that. Okay. Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin had a dumpster based on that Trump news as well. But we're still overall bullish right here. Let's see what's happening. Sweeping that weekly premium array. We do have this monthly for value gap down below. Sweeping all this daily sell side. It's a bit of a weird, it's literally in the middle of this range right here. Like it's literally in the middle of this range right here. I don't really like exactly where it's at. So this is what we'll do here. If we want to continue pushing higher, well, the only thing that's stopping us from pushing higher right here is the daily. What the heck? Get that out of the way. So once we disrespect that daily, then looking for longs is quite interesting. But this is not where I'd want to look for shorts. That's something important to note. Why am I not looking at this daily for value gap for high probability shorts? Well, overall, we've been quite bullish. We just swept daily sell side or weekly sell side. It's weekly swing low. And remember what I talked about in bullish conditions, price likes to run old swing lows and use them as stop hunts to continue pushing higher. Okay, so we can potentially see something like that right here. So this daily for value gap, it's sus, because overall we have been very bullish on Bitcoin. We have been consistently making all-time highs after all-time highs. So I'm leaning towards this daily overall just likely getting disrespected to then continue pushing higher. So I'm not going to look for shorts unless we do start running this low right here and then down towards that monthly for value gap. That would be a very clear bias for shorts. But this context area right here, Not exactly. Not exactly. So that's that. I don't really want to even look at Ethereum right there. Look at Bitcoin. Now indices. The analysis on indices is pretty simple for the most part. We're waiting for the open. I want to see how we open on 1 second. Someone just got home and is very loud. Okay, Pop is back here. So starting with ES again, I want to see how the market opens based on that Trump news, that tweet, that Truth Social post he made on. We'll see how that affects us over here. Overall, again, don't get too narrow-sided here. We're all still very bullish. We can still continue going higher. On a weekly basis, we're coming into this weekly fair value gap right here. All right. So we can still push higher right now. All right. We'll see. We'll see. Again, there's not really much I can say right now except we're waiting because, I mean, what is tricky right here is if this next daily candle opens, what's 99% gonna, what I'm pretty positive that's gonna happen, unless we do see some mega day yet tomorrow. What is likely gonna happen is we see some form of a daily bearish for value gap form here, just based on how big of an expansion phase candle that is and how unlikely it is that in one day we go all the way back to this level right here. This is what I call the negation level, right? The fair value gap, the candle's low right here that would eliminate the fair value gap creation. So it's just negation level is what I call that. So what's likely, most very likely going to happen is we get a daily fair value gap right here. Some form of daily fair value gap, either like this or like this. It doesn't really matter. We're likely going to get a daily fair value gap, and then from there we're just going to have to wait and see, well, are we going to disrespect it to continue pushing higher, or are we going to start moving lower off of that? Which again, that wouldn't be something I'm interested in, because what is that? What does this create? What would this create? Same exact thing we've been talking about right here. This would create, again, trapped order flow in between this weekly fair value gap and this daily. So it would become an area I'd be very cautious trading inside of. That would require a bit of patience right there. Now, in the event that this next weekly candle, or sorry, this next daily candle like tomorrow, closes something like that, and we create this sort of breakaway gap right here, disrespecting this weekly fair value gap, and not rejecting higher, not getting a 2 candle rejection right here, and then sweeping previous day's low to continue pushing higher, and we just run it, right? So that's 2 candle rejection failed right there, creating a breakaway gap right here. Well, I wouldn't really expect price to want to go higher. I would already be looking for shorts down towards this low right here, right? So there's a couple scenarios there that could happen, and that's what I'd be looking for on ES. And the same thing would go on NASDAQ as well. Right, just pretty much waiting, because we're most likely going to get a daily fair value gap. Now we're just going to have to wait and see what kind of daily fair value gap. Is it just a bullish fair value gap right here that creates trapped order flow, and now we have to be a little patient right here, wait for price to come into the daily, reject, maybe run a rejection high right there, and then continue pushing higher, or we displace lower, bag. All right, we can look for shorts right here, play the 4-hour or 1-hour fair value gaps down towards this level. A couple things that could happen right there, so we'll wait and see. Now, if we do get a very strong move right here and get a very small daily fair value gap, you know, it's very likely that this daily fair value gap would fail, just based on how much bullish intention there is, and I would play a 4-hour fair value gap through that. Again, still waiting for that to get disrespected, because we can still mess around in there. So I mean, it's the same idea. But ES NASDAQ, that's the plan right there. We'll see how the market opens up. That's a big teller as to what might happen. And it's the same thing for YM. The YM it's a bit of a different. We don't really have a weekly fair value gap right there we're coming into. But we can potentially take that swing low on a weekly. Remember, bullish order flow. Price likes to run old lows, where he did right there, to continue pushing higher. we can potentially do that and then push higher. So that could be a catalyst for YM on its own right there. And yeah, we'll see. That's that, guys. How long was that little forecast? An hour? Damn. More like 40 minutes. I think we played like, spent like 20 minutes waiting around and playing guitar. But I think that's nice. Okay. Hello, wanted to ask, how do you frame your dealing ranges? Should the high and low considered take out some form of swing or liquidity on the left? Well, my dealing ranges, I don't really use the term dealing ranges itself, actually. I use order flow, so I'll just use the order flow legs. I have a whole video on that, and I have an indicator that does it automatically for me and saves me so much time. Let me actually make this very clear about the whole indicators talk. I've been hearing a lot of talk about indicators. Indicators are not going to make you profitable, right? If you buy my indicators and you think that this is going to instantly make you profitable by utilizing this, you're wrong. This isn't a tool to make you profitable instantly. That is not the case. It's never been marketed as such. This is a tool to help you. It's been designed to help you save a lot of time. And time is the most precious asset that we have as human beings. So I truly believe that this will save you a lot of time when it comes to doing your chart analysis, when it comes to doing your back testing, when it comes to doing your whole routine, your process, your alert settings, right? We have the entry alert indicator. You can just literally set your alerts inside of gaps and get alerted when you get your entry function. Does that not save you a whole lot of time? Does that not help you catch missed setups? I personally believe it does. So I think they're super useful, but they're not going to instantly make you profitable. You still have to know the concepts. You still have to know everything. And yeah, they help a lot with that. But yeah, guys. Anyways, hope that was insightful. Thank you all for tuning in. As always, I will be inside the Discord. If you're not in there, tag along. I think the link is in the description. But yeah, I think that's it. I think that wraps it up. Again, we'll see you next week. No trades before NASDAQ with the holiday on Monday. No, I'm not going to be trading tomorrow at all. It's pretty much, I'm considering it a day off. It is a day off. It's Columbus Day. It's my ancestor. Fun fact, this is hilarious. I'm directly related to Christopher Columbus. That's a true story. Like it's genuinely true. Like my dad traced down his entire lineage from his dad to his dad's dad to his dad's mother to his dad's dad's mother's dad's mother, and it led directly. It was like a direct link to Christopher Columbus because my dad's Puerto Rican, and you know Christopher Columbus discovered a lot of those Caribbean islands, so it makes sense. And we found a direct lineage, direct link to Christopher Columbus. So that's my guy. Tomorrow is my guy's day. It's a fun fact right there. But yeah, I thought that was funny. Interesting. But anyways, hope that was sweet. Any final questions? I don't think so. I think we're all tired today. See in chat. Sleepy little chat. All good, guys. Love y'all. I'll see y'all not tomorrow. Well, yeah, I'll see y'all Tuesday. See y'all in the Discord. Peace out.